Attention gamers. Blitzcrank is like an OnlyFans girl. They're only good for one thing, and speaking of hands and their jobs, his is to dislocate his arm and grab someone like they are a shock collar remote on Hassan's desk anytime his fluff slave has the audacity to stand up.
You stop.
But if you miss your hook, you are more useless than a bar of soap at Asmongold's house, which is why playing him as a support is insert a synonym for retarded that won't get me cancelled. You see, maybe there's a hottie with a body that you would like to grab, but she knows that Twitch security won't stop you, so she stands behind her hooded midget employees, which makes you feel soft in the groin area. But if you introduce the concept of angles, all of a sudden you are IQ maxing. Not to mention the cocaine enema that comes with your W makes you punch harder than a prime Jake Paul against opponents who are literally only there to lose to you.
I want to eat his children.
Combine all of these super sophisticated, almost impossible to comprehend theory crafts reasons, and today you will see why I've just turned the crank into a blitzing jungler.
Yeah, let's see how you do under pressure. Oh, yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay.
Alright, so level 1, you'll find me begging for a leash more than Kai Cenat begs for subs during his Mafiathon, and I do this because once I come down from the high of the booger sugar on my W, there's actually a hangover debuff attached to the ability where I lack charisma for a few seconds, and thus a few slaps from some mouth breather playing the latest skin sales generator of Riot goes a long way. Then I headbot because at the beginning of the game my support was like Nautilus, more like not gonna be useful at all, so he's more dead than a Garen main's sex life, but their Kate's health is lower than my support's IQ, so I come ahead of Flash Bop M Soccer and then watch as Zaheem finds out how many tower shots it takes to get to the center of a dead bitch playing the flavor of the month champ. Speaking of everyone and their uncle dodging countless lobbies until they get to play the new guy, their top is just absolutely manhandling the miniature kangaroo that we are stuck calling a teammate. With that said, I roly golem my ass up so that when his Aatrox passive finishes, I make sure the batshit crazy 10 health Kled standing literally on top of him doesn't get shafted as we take him down. Then keeping your lanes from feeding as a jungler is like playing the most frustrating game of whack-a-mole in existence, but it just means there's more opportunities for me to pop off. That said, I stick around because Frisbee Felicia is known to give some very convincing pep talks that make me want to move just a little bit faster, and even though that Piltover Mall cop thinks she's in the clear, I managed to get just in range for a Tesla Queef killer combo to send her packing. Fast forward like a minute and we already have her making peace with her god again, but unfortunately the support cast in Blitzcrank the movie is about as useful as a tampon on the Titanic, so they all die and I find myself in a situation where there's so many snipers lined up on me you'd think my last name was Kennedy, and for a second I thought my health was Long John Silver's, but speaking of F's, look at these losers that can't even kill me with 2 ults. Anyways, I was just doing what us in the Blitz biz call a top to bottom full clear when I noticed that my red buff didn't show up for his normal shift at this time. Upon some detective work that dumb people would never even think to attempt, I came to the conclusion that some nicotine addict led a heist. He said he was in my head, but in reality he was in my hand. Hashtag get pulled and give me my fucking red buff, but unfortunately my support system was about as effective as Ariana Grande's dietitian, so I just turned into the perverted robot playing grab ass with the leader of the Eskimo gang, and the only thing I could do myself was be a grade A dickhead by stealing his break apart pebbles. I don't want to sound dramatic, but my team's Kled was the dumbest sack of greasy weasel shit I've ever come across in all of my years, but the good news was I had some business in the area, which meant an opportunity would present itself for me to hit a surprise. Here's a static shit straight out of my shiny anus combo for the kill. I then had a plan for ultimate revenge on the red buff bandit, and it just would require some patience. Target eliminated, and then it was just time for the great escape. Anyways, in case you are wondering how many collective brain cells the 10 of us had, I think the over-under on DraftKings was set around 7. As you can see, the most uncoordinated fuckfest ever going on in Baron Pit. The amount of focus was on par with an ADHD's anonymous convention, as Baron himself ended up going untouched at 10 health, while the tides of the battle turned when Riot reintroduced the Aatrox passive that they removed for being too OP, which meant my team would need a hero. Anyways, if you direct your attention to the kill count, we were getting shit on worse than a litter box, but it wasn't gonna stop me from going full-blown flanky Frankie and showing the world that you apparently do not need to be in control of your camera whatsoever to land a hook, as I hit a fat Tesla queef into slap battle shutdown for the first kill. Then we chased Belle Delphine and I politely declined to drink her bathwater before domestically assaulting her as well. At this point I had 2 kills, so in terms of this being a potential clip, I was in full-blown director mode, you know, lights, camera, action. Who was going to be the third and final entity that I would be punching upward in the gooch for another kill? Turns out I died, and the Kled who has been dead was definitely not going to be the one we all tell our grandkids about one day, as a 1 and 13 performance out of him was just about on par with the diarrhea I took after eating too much Taco Bell last night. And I would also like to call attention to the epitome of League of Legends, where you can see what happens when your team picks the new champion versus what happens when the enemy team picks the new champion. Every single one of you can relate, don't lie to me, but with that it was time for game 2. This time we were going to invade, because playing Blitzcrank and not invading is like watching Ms. Kiff say the words demon mode 600 times and not feeling second-hand embarrassment. But speaking of embarrassment, we stuck around because if there's one thing I'm known for, it's committing to a play. A joke a racist remarked once, it's already hard flopped. And sure enough, speaking of racism, look at this dumb blonde thinking the rift clit is going to be her ticket to surviving long enough for her slutty STDs to be the one to kill her. Anyways, if you thought I was done, then clearly you are new here and need to subscribe to the Rav movement, because I've been playing League of Legends long enough to know that laners typically like to go to lane, and my arm was in a prime spot to dislocate for a little surprise grab ash session for another quickie before work today. Here I made a point to help out bot lane a lot, because Bard is clearly diabetic from being a fat fuck, and I didn't want to get the reputation of being fatophobic, but honestly I kind of instantly regretted being his wingman when I saw the level of accuracy on his first Q. That said, it worked out and I got paid enough to fund a trip up north. Shocker, we had a Zaheem in this one too, even though that champ looks more boring than a neon stream. But speaking of bots, their top thought it would be a good idea to flash and then proceed to walk in a straight line, which was so troll you'd think he was trying to fraud his life insurance policy or some shit. Then I ran mid because we have a Master Yi playing that lane, thinking it's 2013 and he's fucking faker, but the silver lining here is that the only ward in this Lux's life is the one she goes to visit her abusive schizophrenic boyfriend on weekends. You can change him, Lux, I believe in you. Anyways, their support was quickly becoming responsible for coining the clever phrase, dumb ash, which was great, you know, quick play on words, nothing special, nothing flashy. Then with her disgraceful presence off my screen, I come up with the plan of sending the cosmic ballsack into a fake 1v1 against Flavor of the Month Freddy. I let it go on for a bit longer than I probably should, but then I extend a firm handshake in an effort to introduce him to Fake Faker, who plays a quick round of Fruit Ninja on his ass. Anyways, if wealth was an objective, then I would be on food stamps, because I tend to avoid those like the plague when I'm jungling. As you can see, Bard get Riley readed in the distance. After missing a hook like a coat lying on the floor, I walk up with absolutely no game plan whatsoever. Luckily, anyone who spams dodged lobbies until they get the new champ the day he comes out is typically on par intelligence with a dead sea monkey, so he donates his life, which also opens the door for me to lose my objective virginity before reuniting with the boys to take down Brecky Hill. Turns out hanging around objectives became a new hobby for me, as I could care less about the dragon, but it meant idiots would be walking around the area trying to put cameras on the ground to get alerts on when we would be coming, but I don't appreciate being watched, so I had to teach this dumb ash a lesson. Anyways, we continue hitting the wrap around like it's a new TikTok dance trend until I see Zaheem again. I let him get a hard on for my support, and then I pull him away to achieve the proper amount of blue balls while my supports were looking more gold, and that turns out to be enough to take him down. This quickly becomes the longest dragon fight that extends for minutes on end, because no one is smart enough to just take the damn objective. But from a team deathmatch perspective, I was living large, patting the A of K and D, if you are picking up what I'm putting down. Fights continued to break out, which was great because actually clearing my jungle camps is insufferable on this champ. I'm not sure why I thought it would be a good idea when all I was really good for was magneting my arm straight up this archer's anus, and that's pretty much all I would do. Lux was learning what her life would look like if Einstein never existed, and the rest of us were playing the classic game of how many old League of Legends champions does it take to take down just the one newest, and the answer in this particular trial was a firm 3. That said, we were getting shit on in the objectives department. Their jinx was fed, and I knew it would be up to me and my skills to be the hero that stops her. Yeah, we got shit on. This was borderline troll, but hey, look at this 2-for-1 Queef Quake special. I copped myself in the river before we inevitably lost a team fight because Faker was up north playing solo player like a greasy weasel dimwit. Anyways, tell your enemies to try Blitzcrank jungle, say it's super OP, and then enjoy that sweet LP. Subscribe for more cinematics and brush your teeth tonight. Rav out.